You know, do I look scary?
He is used to taking information that has been puked into his mouth, right? Like he'll basically aggregate other people's information. It gets puked into his mouth. And then he will take that information, instead of digesting it, you know, swallowing it, he will just puke it into your mouth. He is baby birding you drama content and not actually digesting it, right? With that being said, Nick is not green, okay? I have made a number of videos on this, I guess, on the Clips channel, yeah. Basically talking about Nick is not green and more or less outlining his involvement in the SuperMega situation or cancellation attempt. I don't think that Nick is not green handled the SuperMega situation particularly well. Like I said, his main claims in involving himself in that situation were that he wanted to help his friend Lex spread her message about the essay allegedly that happened to her. Yeah, that was, I think, pretty much the main thing. Like he wanted to bring light to his friend's plight effectively. And her story, and, you know, provide her support. And as I've kind of outlined in past videos, I don't think he did a very good job of that at all. And it seems like Lex has even claimed that she did not want her story, or didn't expect at least her story to, you know, make the rounds as much as it did. And Nick was a massive part in why that story blew up in the kind of aggressive way that it did, right? It was framed effectively, Nick's video, around canceling SuperMega quite explicitly. So you will see. His video is titled "SuperMega is full of horrible people," and the thumbnail is, yeah, I mean, pretty much it looks kind of like T content. It's a T content classic thumbnail. It's over. You got the little "it's over." You know what I mean? He's using like the fucking classic yellow text font or whatever the fuck. And so yeah, long story short, it was a sensationalized video where he completely one-sidedly, the side of his friend Lex, but he took the position of agreeing with blindly, completely believing in the word of strangers, people that he doesn't actually know, or people that aren't his friends, whatever, that he can't vouch for their credibility or whatever, just from reading a summary of the streams that they participated in, okay? Now, Nick is a guy who is very much of the, it seems like, of the believe all victims mindset. I'm sure there's, you know, reasons to criticize certain aspects of that kind of a mindset. But beyond that, it's pretty clear, at least to me, that this was a situation especially where the way that he handled it was not, I would say, kosher, okay? And so beyond what I fucking think of it, you already know what I think. You don't care, okay? The real thing is that now there's grown a kind of counter movement, right? And this bleeds into another reason why I was saying I don't think that Nick actually did a good job of spreading, you know, and supporting his friend Lex, right? Because since he took this hard stance supporting Lex, yes, but also, you know, overtly trying to cancel SuperMega, there has now been a kind of counter reaction, and it is a reaction, okay? There's been fucking like floods and floods and floods of videos, you know, just completely shitting on everybody who was involved in any of these accusations, and I'm sure maybe you could put me in some of that, you know, category, but when I was actually covering the situation, it was usually like relatively new, you know what I mean? It was like I guess a breaking fucking situation or whatever. But yes, now that the reaction has come, and in my opinion, that Nick he's been forced to kind of face the mirror, right? He's been forced to kind of maybe reflect, because now a decent chunk of his audience has started to semi-mutiny, or at the very least, they've started to question, like, wait, what the fuck? You were trying to cancel SuperMega off of allegations that from people you didn't even know, that were basically just saying like they were like cheating on their spouses, or that they called their friend Daniel a coward, you know, just like almost petty things he just included in there, and took as fact. That's the big kind of important thing. It's one thing to joke about it, it's one thing to meme on it, it's another thing to mention it, and then it's a whole other thing entirely to just take it at face value and be like, these are bad fucking guys, we gotta stop them, they need to be held accountable, you gotta fucking unsubscribe and, you know, fuck these guys. And so yeah, we're just gonna run through quickly what has, I guess, you know, come after this storm of, I guess, reaction from Nick's coverage. and it started pretty much on his Reddit. I really do not use Reddit, but a lot of, for like aggregating and content creation, Reddit definitely provides a lot of information and stuff. So yes, this is the SuperMega Reddit right here. NickisnotGreen will remove the SuperMega videos, right? So yeah, this is kind of where the descent really began, was on SuperMega's subreddit. It's ironic because the cancellation began on this subreddit too. You know what I mean? Like, this subreddit completely turned on SuperMega, and then after the videos, there was a moment where they were like, wait a minute. And then they were like, fuck NickisnotGreen, basically. And so yeah, Nick said his reason for posting his videos on SuperMega in the first place was to signal boost Lex's story, so we can expect him to take them down or unlist them. No? I mean, Lex has said that they served their purpose. This is actually factually true. This is actually a good point, and it's actually more accurate now, because as I've covered before, Lex has already kind of unlisted her own video on the SuperMega situation. So it's kind of seems clear to me that she also wants to kind of limit the reach of the story at least as much as she can now, right? So it does confuse me why Nick's video is still up. Again, if his main fucking purpose of doing so was to support Lex. Hey, he's his own guy. It's not the biggest fucking deal, I'm sure. If Lex asked him personally, maybe he would. But now the thing to look at is Nick on his own subreddit, how they're reacting. Okay, NickisnotGreen subreddit isn't too happy with his coverage of SuperMega. This is just a couple screenshots, basically, of people reacting. I've been watching Nick's videos for almost 2 years now, and I still watch him basically every video. However, I gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan of his new video. I'm glad he's calling out SuperMega, but I feel like he would totally be calling out Layton too if he wasn't friends with him. But because he is friends with him, he seems to kind of dismiss that Layton was caught lying, and Nick is kind of blindly defending him. So here's what this person is referring to. Nick claimed that he was not close friends with Layton, okay? In reality, what he was claiming as well was that he had just hung out with Layton a few times. He doesn't really know him personally. So either way, it's kind of sus, right? Because Nick, once again, blindly latched onto the narrative of Layton, right? Which has been very largely seemingly disproved. Even LexUpDog has explicitly, effectively said that Layton was an opportunist who latched on to her story in order to, basically seek out his vendetta, okay? And so, yes, for Nick to say, like, he's actually not my friend, to me, that's not that good of a defense or whatever you would say, because it's like, okay, so wait, he wasn't your friend. You barely knew him, and you still took his word at face value. Look, the whole thing, the main fucking takeaway from his coverage of the SuperMega situation is effectively just to say, like, you should be way more fucking careful when you are dealing with serious allegations, especially if you are going to weaponize those allegations in the form that you did. And even more especially if your intention by weaponizing those allegations is to support your fucking friends. Because, again, whatever you did, Nick, this whole fucking situation has blown in on itself, and a lot of blowback came to your friends, unfortunately. For you, at least, and for them. If he handled this situation amazingly, there wouldn't be so much vitriol, I imagine, levied toward the person specifically who he claimed to be trying to protect, right? Whatever you want to say about his intention, the outcome was absolutely, completely opposed to his intention. And once again, even his intention, to me, is suspect because of a lot of the surrounding details, because Lex herself said that she didn't intend for it to be blown up to so many people, because Lex has unlisted her own video and Nick has not unlisted his, and yeah, because he sensationalized the fuck out of it and included people who he definitely fucking shouldn't have in his video trying to cancel SuperMega. And so this reaction that was coming from Nick's subreddit, I guess we can take a look at it a little bit more. I can understand Nick wanting to be supportive of Lex coming out with this, but it kind of comes off like he was somewhat happy or eager to make these videos when he's posting to his Instagram story an embarrassing SuperMega at a party he was at. If he was simply supportive, he would have simply made a video on the assault and left out the stuff that didn't need to be included, but it kind of feels like he wanted to talk bad about Matt and Ryan. Again, I'm not against people just memeing on a situation, or not necessarily just making light of it, but like just fucking around, right? But yes, if your intention is to literally send a mob of hate towards someone for allegations, then you should be more careful, is my opinion. But let me just show you the context of what he's describing there. This is the Instagram story that people are referencing, where he basically, before the video dropped, he said, "I'm going to embarrass you at this party, SuperMega." Okay? Now, this is alleged. I don't know how to prove that this is a legitimate, completely verifiable, this was a Nick is not green Instagram story, because theoretically it would be easy for someone to just paste this text onto a story. I think it's probably legit, but just keep in mind, like, I don't know how to prove this. If you know a way to prove this, if you screenshotted this, or if you have this documented, literally actually get in contact with me, okay? Join the fucking Gokanara Discord, because I don't know how to completely verify this is legit, and I don't want to, be too preemptive. But yeah, if this is legit, and again, people are talking about how people are claiming it's legit. Yeah, this is just more fucking fuel to the fire, where it's like, bro, it seems like you were a little excited, my friend. It seems almost like you felt like an opportunity was upon you when you made that SuperMega video. This is sus if it's real. So yes, please let me know if you can figure out if that's real. There was also this reaction from Nick on a video about a week or two later that kind of speaks to his general mindset on the backlash that's been kind of received from other people. You can watch what he says right here.
Hello, happy Monday, and welcome back to the drama. Today I'm wearing my scary shirt to make me look a lot more scary.
Oh, you looking scary, dude. Holy shit, he is looking scary. Damn, bro. That's a scary face. I'll show you my scary face. Ah! Just kidding.
There's too many Reddit debate bro dorks on this website trying to come after me every single day. So I thought I'd show them a little bit of what I'm made of. Do I look scary? I got this new tattoo also. Pretty cool, right?
So that was his initial kind of response. And from what I understand, that was Nick kind of offhandedly making a reference to the fact that I believe Destiny made this video on, I guess, the Nick is not green situation, okay? I don't care about facts. This is a very overt thumbnail. This is a very overt shot at Nick is not green, however you want to say. Yeah, it doesn't get more clear than that. Holy fuck, what a thumbnail. That's actually really well done. Anyway, the dumbest SJW cancellation attempt on YouTube, and it worked. Almost 500,000 fucking views. That's wild. And so yes, TurkeyTom was the one who brought this story to Destiny, and Tom notified me of this very shortly before he literally went on Destiny's stream. And there was a couple of things I told Tom. I was like, make sure you're very clear about fucking like Lex's account of things. Like, you basically don't, because there was a large narrative that was like kind of leaning into the whole like fuck Lex completely, like absolute, like every part of her story is bullshit. And I was like, okay, just be fucking cautious, because what can happen, and I think to an extent this has happened, is you can get the total opposite reaction where you almost right. So you can like look at Nick and be like, this motherfucker, unsubstantiated, completely, pushed this narrative and was trying to cancel SuperMega with unsubstantiated allegations. But then you can go into the reaction and be like, okay, well, you call, like, say, like, Lex is completely a liar. Absolutely, what she is saying did not happen. And that's where you get a little bit dangerous, because now you're also making absolute assumptions about allegations, right? Things you can't fucking verify. So there is certainly a reaction. I didn't watch this whole Destiny video, but from what I remember, Tom basically Destiny onto this whole thing, and Destiny definitely is like a guy with not a ton of discretion. You know what I mean? Like, he speaks in basically like how he fucking whatever the fuck he thinks, but also like he is a gamer as well. You know what I mean? So like, I think he told Nick to kill himself or something like that. Long story short, I was like kind of like, damn, Destiny like talking in this way about Nick. Well, immediately I was like, this is going to make it really easy for Nick to write off all of the criticism very simply and blanketly ignore it, simply by saying that Destiny, fucking these fucking types of idiots are coming after me, type of thing. You understand? This was my prime concern. And that does exactly seem to be the case of what has happened, which is kind of ironic, okay? Destiny blew up this situation even fucking more, right? He was definitely biased going into it, and he was, a gamer about it.
The most they would do, I think, is they would cherry pick certain things. Like Destiny saying off yourself, they're gonna take that and be like, he literally told us to die. Get him banned, right? Like they would probably do that.
Well, that actually frustrates me a little bit, to be honest, when I see stuff like that.
Of course. Yeah.
Destiny's giving them that on a silver platter. Like now you're giving them an easy out. Whereas if we were able to like come at this from a much more like a different angle, I would say, I don't know, it might be a bit easier.
That was my instant like it is funny, but you don't gain much by saying that,
No, yeah, it's literally
their
like
audience will immediately write you off for saying
you're controversy farming, guaranteed. You know how Destiny posts those videos that he does, and like at the start he says all the controversial shit. He's just gonna like his editor's gonna put like all these like controversial statements right at the start. It's drama farming. It's what happens with like streamers.
I mean, that's
like,
how you get people in the door, right? Like I don't really blame you for that.
Yeah, here's the thing. You and I aren't straight streamer mains. Like I really don't view us like that.
Absolutely.
So our brains are wired a little bit differently to a guy like Destiny, and I truly do think that Destiny's brain is wired after over a decade of streaming to kind of controversy farm. Like that's why he keeps so many fucking degenerates around him. That's why he, interacts with all these people that are kind of like easy prop up dummies for him to like make fun of. I can see what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And so yeah, it has allowed Nick to kind of just say like, bunch of fucking dorks. A bunch of dorks are like going after me or whatever. And in my mind, that has kind of buried some of the more legitimate criticism. But at the same time, you could view it as like, oh, it's forcing him to address it. Whatever. We will see. Long story short, I really don't know, how I guess feel too much about that. But the fucking fact remains that this situation, the fallout, has been hitting NickisnotGreen in a couple of fucking situations, okay? Let's just say that it feels like the pressure cooker is getting a little hot. The kettle is steaming, okay? And it feels like there might be, unless, you never know, because his basic stance from what we have seen is he's just going to let it ride out and they'll just fucking forget about it type of thing. In other news, the Leighton fella, he has actually deactivated his Twitter account. It seems like he has completely fallen off the face of the earth. Honestly, probably for the best. He really, like, when this situation went down, I've been a little bit, I guess, not soft, but like whatever. I basically have been saying about Leighton, like, that guy didn't seem like he was mentally in the best state of mind, even when he made his streams and whatever. And sure, you can say that's not an excuse, whatever, but like realistically, a dude like that going offline, just fucking like hopefully not looking at Twitter, whatever, that's probably for the best. That, or maybe he's trying to hide something, you know what I mean? I think it's more like he's just like, I fucked up and I need to go and touch grass. Something a lot of us could probably, do good by engaging in, but that has led to Nick's most recent Instagram post, which basically has stated, what should I yap about today on NickisnotGreen? Have you seen what's going on in your subreddit? Why are people so mad? And then this is Nick's response. He said, a certain Debate Bros fan base has their aims on me for a few weeks. They will move on to their next target in like a month. The same people who tried getting people banned for saying cracker. Genuinely the most mindless zombies you will find on the internet. So, once again, I was completely fucking correct. Exactly correct. In the sense that he is completely ignoring whatever the fuck criticism there is out there, right? Criticism that he, in my opinion, did not really act like fucking like in a solid way address in his response video. He addressed criticism very lightly in his response video, but it was steeped just heavily in a weird kind of like he's not responsible kind of way. Anyway, it's not too big of a deal to really describe, but yeah, our boy Nick, he's coping. I think he's coping, in my opinion, okay? And the way that he's coping is by seeing, the deplorables, the fucking degenerates who are covering this story. And I mean, it's, to be fair, a lot of the types of people who would go on the reaction in a story that involves an essay or whatever. I mean, it's guys, yeah, with like lower discretion, but again, I don't think that is like a good reason to just write off the criticism. But yeah, to him, he's basically saying it's just a bunch of dumb detractors who will fuck off in a couple weeks. We'll see if that's the case. Time will tell. I do want to take a sec just to kind of like go into a little bit of a conversation with chat, right? Because I'm not sure. I really don't. I feel like this is a gray area that a lot of YouTubers don't really want to fully discuss. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but allegations content, okay? I have made content on allegations. Obviously, Nick, a large, massive, huge part of his brand is surrounded around allegations content. As I've said previously, he's so used to covering TikTok, drama, allegations, creeps, weirdos, yikes type people, that when he is involved in a situation where he is talking about his own friend's, potential essay story, right? He basically went in it from the same angle, almost as if it was like a tea video, you know what I mean? Even though he padded it with saying that it's like, a very serious situation, the way that he handled it doesn't really give off that vibe. And so it's kind of a thing where, what do you guys feel? I really actually want to hear opinions, and like not just fucking a bunch of idiots agreeing with me or, whatever take. I want to hear your honest gut reaction when somebody makes allegations toward another person. And then a YouTuber, a dumb fuck, decides to make a video on it. What do you think is like the moral fucking imperative upon that YouTuber to cover them? Maybe not moral, let's just say like if you weren't trying to basically detract or like fuck around with making super overt claims. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, because with Nick's form, it's basically usually, not always, but usually completely basically believe, the alleged victim. I've seen this as well with Nick's brother, Austin Green. This is like an interesting thing. Just because I made a video on the Linus Tech Tips allegations, and then right before I uploaded mine, basically, and mine was a more, just a more quick summary, and I was trying to be relatively objective while still giving like slight opinions and stuff. Whereas Austin Green uploaded the Linus Tech Tip situation is a disaster, and it's like the classic T-channel fucking formula. It's like fascinating, this formula, man. Sorry, right here, this fella. So Austin Green, okay, the Linus Tech Tip situation is a disaster. And so I basically made a Clips channel video outlining how he basically completely, it goes beyond just siding with the victims and kind of incites a lot of anger toward the management at Linus Tech Tips, people who he literally doesn't really know. And in my mind, it's kind of like a little bit preemptive, because for all he knows, the people who are managers or whatever are not even working there anymore. But yeah, here, I'll just show you guys this because I think it's fascinating. And it really speaks to NickisnotGreen and his brother, both making content on allegations in my opinion, kind of dangerous way, right? Where you're completely siding with the victims in a way that is almost like vitriolic, right? You're intending for, or maybe not intending, but like there's a subtle air of like, you should fucking hunt people down and get justice. And I'll show you why I put it like that, because it's pretty overt. Like what ended up happening with the Linus Tech Tip situation was a lot of people started speculating and kind of like hunting through older videos, trying to figure out what managers were mistreating in this situation. So this is kind of why I was saying it's like a kind of debate in my mind. I'm trying to really, grapple with a little bit. And I genuinely want you guys to tell me like what your opinion is on this type of fucking content, because there are arguments you could make in favor of it, in favor basically of blindly believing victims and using that belief to send vitriol toward the people who are accused. And sometimes just like, just vague people, like just managers at Linus Tech Tips, you know what I mean? Again, I'm not like a guy out here trying to stan a fucking company, right? It's just like, it feels weird to almost incite people to fucking like look into the managers at Linus Tech Tips and try and like fucking like, you know what I mean? Like just people who you don't know who they even are. Like they weren't identified, right? Nobody really knows who Madison was referring to specifically. Here's Kate's opinion on Nick is Not Green. Okay, I watched his videos for some time. His problem is that he is completely unable to discern different levels of sincerity. To him, all dramas are the same, whether it's essay or abuse or TikToks. Interesting. Yeah, well, this is an argument that I've made in past streams, where I was basically saying that critical thinking is kind of fucking, it's a developed skill, right? It really is. Like, in order to parse information and to, try hard to decipher and decide what actually, happened in your opinion in a situation, right? In order to look at the facts and then come to a conclusion for yourself. That's a developed skill. It's not easy, and most people don't actually really employ it, right? What is a lot easier is to pick a fucking side and then conform to the information that serves your agenda or your side, right? And a lot of what I see from Nick is Not Green's content is somebody who is either unwilling or unable to, probably both mix, to think critically, to engage with, especially like allegations, but yeah, drama to critically, right? It's like, this guy's a freak, this guy's disgusting, whatever. And it seems almost like it's always relatively simple framing, right? Where it's like, bang, bang, bang reasons, this guy's a piece of shit or whatever, you know what I mean? Now, this is a massive generalization, but it really is like almost every video I've seen from him is in kind of this genre, in this formula, right? And I've said this again, it might come down to a reason being like, he is used to effectively taking information that has been puked into his mouth, right? Like, he'll basically aggregate other people's information. It gets puked into his mouth. And then he will take that information, instead of digesting it, swallowing it, he will just, while it's still in his mouth, just puke it into your mouth. He is baby birding you drama content and not actually digesting it, right? That is the whole, nature of a bird spitting into, he like chews it a little bit and then he spits it in your mouth. And when that's your job, when your job is effectively to aggregate information and to, basically view things on a pretty, one-dimensional level, then yeah, when you're handling serious situations, it's easy to basically do the exact same thing, to not think critically, to pick a side, and to, when everyone's like so pissed off at you that you really, pick the fucking side hardcore, and then you sided with people that you don't even know, that literally, like, their allegations are, once again, kind of suspect, but also unverifiable, then yeah, I mean, you deserve the criticism. But again, I see how he doesn't really get it or whatever. But again, I think that deep down he does kind of get it. It's just that, people associating with Destiny or whatever, basically all the debate bro type, the reaction, whatever you want to call it, that has allowed him to his audience, he can just say, oh, this person who's gross, disgusting, or fucking, racist, whatever, this like the group of deplorables, they're criticizing me heavily, so just ignore that. It doesn't matter, because they're just like, if the deplorables are fucking hating on you, then you must be doing something right, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much my take. But we'll watch the rest of Austin Green, kind of, flirting with the idea of Linus Tech Tips managers are all a bunch of fucking predators.
Work from home situation. Work from home was a whole issue. If you took 3 minutes to answer a personal email, you could get in trouble, which happened to her. If a manager ever got mad at me over taking 3 minutes to reply to an email, I'd dox him on the LTT main page. It's impossible to write off these experiences as...
Do you think he was joking there? I'm curious. I'm curious what you think. I know what I think.
Untrue. Nobody would be able to lie in this much detail about trauma they personally experienced. I really commend Madison for coming forward and confronting her abusers in this way. And I hope it empowers others to come forward and identify who these predators actually are.
Regarding the claims that Linus has fostered a... That's pretty much all. I then go into basically just, breaking down more of the Linus Tech Tip situation. Current Nick comment section looks like... Thanks for making this vid, Nick. I love Nick's vids. I love simple drama. I love useless drama. Thanks, Nick. Bro, that's facts. That's facts. I mean, look, this is the nature of, like, Nick makes, yes, slop, dog shit, drama content. Here you go. This is your daily dose of dog poo. And he's pretty self-aware about it, right? He's got 3 fucking channels. He's got Nick is Not Green, Green is Not Nick, and He Said Us. I believe it's called He Said Us. And I've said this before, but like, I think the idea was that Nick is Not Green is like, the better quality videos. Green is Not Nick is like a little bit worse quality. And then He Said Us is like dog shit. But in reality, they're all kind of dog shit. And yeah, he basically uses the channels as a, a way to make money, but he calls it, having like whatever, a job. Yes, okay, it's your job. His main like passion or whatever, which again, slop channels, a lot of times they are used to fund people's passions. If your whole only thing is slop channels, that sounds awful. But his main seemingly interest is actually the music that they've been doing, right? And so he probably, is using the YouTube channels more as like a reliable source of income so that he can do more like fun stuff. The biggest thing that I remember with NickisnotGreen specifically that threw me the fuck off was I was also working on a SuperMega video for the Clips channel because I realized like, oh shit, this is a serious situation. I need to be like careful with the information that I report. I still like fucking around. I still, try to be a little bit of a jokester. But with the actual information, I try to be as careful as I can. And then before I was able to upload mine, I saw NickisnotGreen uploaded his fucking like, basically the Saturday, that same Saturday early in the day. And he claims in the video that he recorded his SuperMega video the Friday night, right? So he records it Friday night, he releases it Saturday midday, and this fucking guy rushed it out. He rushed out a video covering allegations from his fucking friend. And that obviously absolutely contributed to the quality or the more suspect elements within that video, right? Like he, again, didn't even take the time to watch the streams by Morgpie, by Leighton. He just read a fucking Reddit summary of them. Once again, the bird gets a worm puked into its mouth. And then instead of digesting the fucking worm, he just pukes the worm right back into his audience's mouth. And the audience gets this fucking undigested dogshit content that really does not, in effect, help victims. And that's the important part because that was his intent, allegedly. So, early bird gets the slop, yeah. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying, Internet Tough Guy. Like, early bird gets a slop. It seems like he wanted to be the first person to, jump on that video, to squeeze out, to rush out his video before Matt and Ryan's response, because it was announced that they would be responding. Another reason why his video seemingly didn't serve much of a purpose, right? Because Matt and Ryan were already going to respond by the time he uploaded his video basically blowing up the situation. I mean, maybe he wanted to frame, the narrative as like antagonistic toward Matt and Ryan, but no, it's for real though. And his response was very cooked in my opinion. So yeah, in closing, with allegations and stuff of that nature, definitely you should fucking listen to victims, okay? That sounds fucking common sense, right? Yeah. But definitely I would also say, don't be too preemptive, don't be too opportunistic about picking a side, because that shit it really does need to be like a case-by-case basis, right? There are people who deserve to get canceled or whatever the fuck. But it's not always black and white. So yeah, that's all I gotta say, okay? Let's leave it there.